the answer.
Welcome back to Get Down to Business, the show all about small business jobs and entrepreneurship. Thrilled to be joined by Tom Kret, Senior Retirement Plan Consultant and an Institutional Consultant with UBS Financial Services. Tom, welcome to the program.
Yeah, hi. Thank you very much, Shalom, for having me.
Absolutely. So welcome. And I know you work with a lot of interesting people, and you are helping business owners. Are there any unique plan designs that help business owners to save for their own retirement, as well as help them attract and retain talent to their organization?
Yes, there are. And due to time limitations, I'm going to focus on one of the simplest yet effective strategies known as a new comparability design. In the typical profit-sharing plan, contributions are allocated on a pro rata basis, Shalom, as a percentage of compensation. And by incorporating a new comparability design, a larger share of the company's contribution may be made on behalf of those employees to whom the employer wishes to provide a more significant benefit. And the strategy can be incorporated into any organization's 401k plan, and it involves very complex calculations, but may be the best choice if the goal is to maximize contributions to the key employees within the organization, which is typically the owner, of course, and the corporate suite. Of course, careful attention must be paid to ensure compliance with Internal Revenue Code's non-discrimination standards, and we'd be happy to discuss this strategy in more detail with any of your listeners individually.
And, of course, we'll make sure that our listeners can find ways to get a hold of you. Tom, one of the things that I guess I'm always frustrated by is acronyms. And there's a term that's been floated around, I've heard it in the past, MEP. What in the world is an MEP?
MEP, the acronym stands for Multiple Employer Plan. And defined contribution plans, such as 401k plans, can be maintained by one employer as a single employer plan or several employers as a multiple employer plan or MEP. And here are several unique characteristics of MEPs for the audience to better understand them. A multiple employer plan has many adopting employers, and this pooling of resources creates economies of scale and buying power, which may lead to more significant and competitive fee arrangements for administration of the plan, as well as access to lower-cost investment options than could be achieved with a single employer plan. Another unique characteristic of a MEP is part of their 5500 filing, which is like your 1040 for a company. Single employer plans with over 100 employees require an annual audit of that 5500. By moving a retirement plan to a MEP arrangement, the responsibility for auditing the plan is passed on to the MEP provider, which means the cost of the audit would be shared amongst all of the adopting employers.
Got it.
Yep.
Interesting, and it's important. I think this information is very valuable for business owners and for employees alike. As a plan sponsor, what should a business owner look for in an advisor for their retirement plans?
Well, retirement plan sponsors need to be able to demonstrate objectivity in the investment selection if ever called upon to do so. So the best way to do this is to have an advisor on your plan not affiliated with either an administrator or the investment firms that manage money for your plan. So there are no inherent conflicts of interest. And if you're confident as a plan sponsor that your advisor doesn't have any inherent conflicts, next you want to make sure your advisor is willing to acknowledge that they're a fiduciary contractually in writing for the investment advice they render to the plan's committee. And then lastly, make sure your advisor follows best practices by working on a fee-for-service arrangement where the advisor's compensation does not depend on the investment selected.
That's helpful. Thank you so much for demystifying the terms of MEP, talking a little bit about advisors for retirement plans, as well as helping business owners sort of focus on their own savings as well. And in a moment, I'll definitely, Tom, we're going to want to make sure that we get your contact information for our listeners to learn more about how they can, talk to you and get some additional advice. But it is important to note that Tom Kret is a senior retirement plan consultant and institutional consultant with UBS Financial Services, a subsidiary of UBS AG, a member of FINRA SIPC in Barrington, Illinois. And the information that's discussed on this show is general in nature and not intended to provide individually tailored investment advice and may not be suitable for all investors, as the appropriateness of a particular investment or strategy will depend on an investor's individual circumstances and objectives. Investing always involves risks, and there's always the potential for losing money when you invest. UBS Financial Services, its affiliates, and employees don't provide tax or legal advice, and clients, of course, should speak with their independent legal or tax advisor regarding their particular circumstances. And the views expressed here are those of Tom Kret, may not necessarily reflect the views of UBS Financial Services. And in providing wealth management services to clients, they offer both investment advisory and brokerage services, which are separate and distinct and differ in material ways. And more information on the different laws and contracts that govern, you can visit ubs.com/working with us. So, Tom, with that in mind, we've got about 15 seconds remaining. How can our listeners get a hold of you?
I couldn't have said it better myself. And they can call me at 847-277-2123 or via email at thomas.kret@ubs.com. I'll repeat the email again, thomas.kret@ubs.com. Shalom, thank you so much for the opportunity to address your audience this evening.
Absolutely. Thomas Kret of UBS, thanks for joining us. We'll be back right after this quick break.